Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the most overpowered Rafa build in Borderlands 4. This is using his red skill tree and guns. When I say most overpowered, it's the strongest possible Rafa at the current moment. Hopefully we'll see some buffs here, but this build is good enough to get the Ultimate Vault Hunter 7 Platinum time. My recommendation though is to actually do this in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6 because the Ultimate Vault Hunter 6 allows you to get the active fire firmware, which is what enables the crow source to be so crazy powerful. Also, things like the roulette can also be crazy without using the Ripper attachment on it. And this build in general is just going to be focusing on trying to keep us in overdrive as long as humanly possible. So we're not even really going to use the Bullet Buddy Deluxe that much. It's really there just for when you really need that ammo reload, but for the most part you want to try and stay out in overdrive so we get those crazy gun damages, because as Rafa's best abilities are his gun damage scaling from Temerario there, so it's just the nature of Rafa's kit. But this is good enough to get that platinum time, and I will admit this is a stretch. It is very difficult, and we're using really good gear here. This is kind of a combination of the Vex build that I posted yesterday with my old Rafa builds that I've done. It's strong, but you do have to have some really good gear to do an Ultimate Vault Hunter 7. That's why I recommend Ultimate Vault Hunter 6, which is it's doable without having to have perfect roll gear. So please, Gearbox, please buff Rafa back to where he was. But yeah, active fire on this setup is insanely powerful using an order weapons. Everything order here is kind of funny for our TDR boy here. Order is the way to go. So I'll be taking you guys through the leveling from level 1. Fire rate typically is nice if we're using other types of weapons. I like taking deft hands in the past, but right now Shield Barriers is just going to give us even more damage from the Watts for Dinner, which is what we're looking for. Overdrive skill, which will increase our recharge rate and delay there, so that's nice. We want to try and stay in overdrive as long as possible, as this is where we're getting all of our damage, movement speed, and etc. buffs from, so that means we're taking Harriga here. Whenever Rafa critically hits an enemy, action skill duration is restored. Now, one little thing about this is that we're going to be using the crow swords for a lot of the bossing, and this is an order weapon, so you're not going to be able to get this every 4 seconds typically. I'll get to that when we talk about capstones, but after this we're going to grab Maestro. This increases our skill damage, and things like the vitriol here actually add skill damage to this setup, so this can be quite nice. And then we're also going to add in a couple points of Resiliencia. This is an overdrive skill, meaning it'll scale up a little bit later. Afterwards, Everdrive does not mean anything. It's useless on this build as we're using the Dancer class mod, so we're grabbing Barrage. This gives us increased splash damage, which impacts the crow sourced. Then we're going to put 5 points into Temerario here. This gives us increased gun damage but decreased gun handling, which will counter by taking some stuff in the blue skill tree. But this is really where a lot of our gun damage comes from. And we'll take a point of Soltado, kill skill, activate all of our overdrive bonuses on kill. So that's really nice because it's going to further boost up our damage scaling. Just be mindful that killing enemies in this arena, they have 6 million health. It's not easy. Now for our augments, I really like Bullet Buddy Deluxe because this is our get out of jail free card. When you press F, it'll make it so that our guns consume no ammo, but we can basically get our ammo back from using this. It causes our action skill to drain faster, so I only use this like 1, maybe 2 times during the entire fight against Subjugator and Thole. You can alternatively take Instinto here. It's a kill skill, which restores action skill duration. You do have to activate it. It's good for mobbing, but in this setup, I think Bullet Buddy Deluxe is a little bit better. Hopefully they change it to 8 seconds again so we can use some different things. But I like Volatile Hollow Points sometimes, but not on this setup because that limits our abilities to get crits, and we want to get crits so that we can stay in our action skill as long as possible. We're trying to stay in overdrive for a very long time, so my recommendation is to just not use a capstone, silly enough. Next, we're going to get into the blue skill tree here. So this doesn't really benefit us reload speed. Rafa's blue skill tree is kind of weird. I did a whole video talking about it, but the throw will increase our fire rate, and this is further increased in overdrive as an overdrive skill. This lets us use other weapons outside of bossing, but we're then also going to grab Las Haras here. Now, just be mindful while using ammo regeneration that if we're using the crow source that you can get like a couple bullets in the magazine and not fire from the full rounds. You don't want to ever do that. So if you see yourself getting low on ammo, you got to either pop Bullet Buddy Deluxe or just manually reload. So even taking Rinse can be decent enough, but we're going to go with these two here. Afterwards, we can come down, and First Impression is really nice. There's kind of 2 options here. First Impression will give ourselves increased gun damage. Al Centro will give ourselves gun handling, and this is going to help offset that Temerario, which is pretty gnarly, and especially on the crow source, it has a very accurate circle, so we don't need as many points. So for that, we're going to take First Impression. Now, this is a little deceptive. It says from a fully loaded magazine. If we regenerate ammo while using Las Haras here, we actually trigger this again, so pretty nice. We're then going to grab Brain Dump. This gives ourselves increased critical hit chance with our guns when action overdrive is active. At full scaling, it's like 67.5% because we get basically 4.5% times everything with our overdrive there. So that's good. We want that because crits obviously do a lot of damage and we need those. We need every little thing we can get with this build. La Garza, this is an overdrive skill that gives ourselves gun handling. Again, that's going to help with offsetting Temerario so that we're not missing our shots because every single round matters for Rafa, unfortunately. Now, we're going to also grab Jacques here, so whenever Rafa damages an enemy with a skill, he gains a stack of Jacques, and also having no rockets on our Bullet Buddy Deluxe is great for this. This is going to increase our overdrive bonuses. Now, there's currently a bug in the game where Mate doesn't even work, so don't take it. We're going to either go with a deadline here. We have 3 points left, so this increases our fire rate. We can go down and take perma last, but this doesn't end up impacting this build. I did post a melee build that can one-shot with this. It's kind of funny how that works, but we're going to grab a few points into Al Centro here, just to offset the ammo just so we don't end up missing our shots. If you don't find Al Centro ends up benefiting you much, we can alternatively add in things like Devil May Care. This is going to give ourselves movement speed and health regeneration. When overdrive is not active, Rafa will take increased damage and gains increased action skill cooldown rate. This is a little bit of a double-edged sword because yeah, Rafa is a bit squishy right now. Even with our resilience, when overdrive ends, we're then taking more damage. So this can be good. The movement speed is great. The action skill cooldown rate's nice, but I typically just found that Al Centro is best for making sure that we're very accurate. I did a video talking about class mods that Rafa's just really don't do very much. We want to get the Dancer with 5 points into Temerario, 1 point into Soldado here. That'd be the absolute best case scenario. This gives us the most gun damage and scaling, and then the leftover point in the Thrill here. So there is a stupid skill on there that we're not going to grab. We want those there. Now, I would typically look for assault rifle damage. At the current moment, if there's a damage dealt increase on your class mod, it doesn't work. So there's a heads up on that. Normally that's a good roll, but it doesn't work right now. This also gives us increased action skill cooldown rate, which is great. We're then going to grab Watts for dinner. I like this with a Siphon here so that we get overshield and then a bit of amp. Amp is important because that's giving us even further damage with that. So whenever we have our shield regeneration with Shield Barrius there, we can actually get a little bit of extra juice out of this. So that's good. Otherwise, you'd go with a Siphon roll. Alternatively, you can throw on the Super Soldier. That's a pretty fun one, increasing fire rate. It does change things a little bit. Cinder Shelly's great too for the damage reduction, but I don't think that he can utilize it as well, especially if you're going against Subjugator and Full. And if you're mobbing, take out the Fireworks. It's the best for mobbing. Now, our enhancement this time around is going to be a order one. So, free charger when firing from maximum charge. Order license parts have a 30% chance to make the next shot. Charge time and ammo cost 0. This is great. This makes you actually have to pay attention while you're clicking away shooting, because sometimes it's going to fully charge really fast and you want to release it quickly because active fire gives us a nice boost to the damage. But it also has Power Shot with the order license parts, 30% extra damage when firing from max charge. And the 2 rolls here, you want assault rifle damage. I have gun critical hit damage, which is nice. Alternatively, just regular gun damage could work, or it really just depends. This is not a perfect one. This is only level 59. So yeah, the most annoying thing ever is when we get these level 59s dropping to level 60. So this could be pushed a bit further at the next level because level 60 gives it even further scaling. So yeah, that's not, I guess this isn't perfectly min-max. It's a little bit off, but yeah, you want to have this enhancement for sure. And the critical hit knife, again, we do have a way to actually deal like the crit from our brain dump skill here, but you got to be mindful that we're not always in at overdrive. So this is where this really shines, because this will actually bridge the gap between the 100%. So we're getting 100% crits in overdrive, and then when we're out of overdrive, this is going to give you even further damage. So yeah, keep spamming these to get ourselves some extra damage off. And you could alternatively go with like a Destructo Disco here or Waterfall. Those are pretty fun, but this is just ends up being the best. We want to try and scale up our damage on these, especially as much as possible. Now, triple bypass, I like it with the fire rate increase, not fully necessary. I have a bunch of different kill springs here. If you get enrage on one of those, that's great too. Also, if you can find one with the movement speed, because movement speed just keeps us alive really well. Leech is another one, but we don't really, I mean, it's an option, but we don't fully need the leech. I think the best would be to go for fire rate increase in most situations. Otherwise, go with the enrage one there. Now, firmware is important. As mentioned, you can get this in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6, both of these actually, so I would fully recommend not fighting Subjugator and Thole in Ultimate Vault Hunter 7. Just do yourself the favor. It's going to give you pretty much the same rewards, and it'll make it much more likely for you to succeed. But active fire, big damage boost, charge speed, and also if we fire within 0.5 seconds of getting that full charge, it increases the damage by 100%. This is massive. Another thing, as mentioned, when you're using this enhancement here, you want to be paying attention to make sure that you shoot it whenever it has that quick charge, because it has a 30% chance when you fire from maximum charge. So take advantage of that as much as you possibly can. It is really good. We're also going to have Skillcraft here because this gives ourselves skill critical hit chance. You could also go with like 2 Deadeye or 2 High Caliber. Another option is going with 3 Deadeye. The increased critical hit damage, especially when we're farming for crits, can be some pretty big boosts to the damage. I just found Active Fire with this setup made it the easiest to get Ultimate Vault Hunter 7, and I was tired of flipping around firmware. So best weapons, unfortunately, Crow Source is the best option. This is like the best version of the Crow Source, but if you have a faster fire rate one, that is good as well. This is an annoying gun to farm, I know, and it's kind of annoying. You do have to do the DLC to make Rafa viable. So I've been begging Gearbox for some buffs because Rafa is in a rough spot right now. But you can use the roulette. This is another good one. It's an order gun, so it can be pretty impactful. You can also get it with a Ripper part, which does trigger this to a certain degree because it's a charged weapon. Complex Root can be a good choice. The Order Sniper Solar Temper. This is for mobbing. It's not really, I've tried it. It does not compete with the Crow Sourced. Juliet Sparkle here is another good choice, especially if you can get the shotgun loader. That one is an okay option. It's just not, like, Rafa's in a very rough shape right now. Broken Wings is kind of fun too, but I also like to have the Dark Beast. If you can get a Ripper Jacobs version of that, that's amazing for mobbing. It's amazing for Bloom Reaper, so you can use that as well. Jailbroken Gatling could be a fine choice too. The Constable can be pretty fun. I was going to say Gomi. Gomi's good too, but I used to really love using the TK's Wave, especially if you have the Ripper TK's Wave there, and the Torg one. That is amazing with the Bullet Buddy Deluxe when it was 8 seconds, now it's only 4, so it's a little bit less effective, but still fine. And even the Doe Shot can be a really good one if you have the DLC. Poor bod is no longer that great. This was the only nerf that Rafa needed, was the bod nerf, but you can use the Herald for some other areas. And the Shalashaska here is a decent one for mobbing as well. I really like this gun, Metal Gear Solid reference. And you can use the Laser Discer to throw it to get second wins pretty easily, but the big shining star here is the Crow Sourced. If you have the fast fire rate, the 10.5 one, that one's pretty okay too, but we chew through ammo really quickly. We want to have the highest possible damage on that. And the Gomi with the shotgun Ripper part is a good weapon as well, but it just doesn't, like, this is the best role for Gomi, doesn't compete with Crow Sourced. And I was even messing around with the Mercredi here. It's just, Crow Sourced is the way to go, sadly. And since we're not doing any damage with our action skill, really, it's just there to keep us in overdrive longer, we're going to go with Now Caffeine, because we need to get into overdrive as much as possible. This is essential to this build. We're also going to throw on the best defense. Whenever we have fullness of health or shield, we get 30% extra damage dealt. Again, we need every piece that we can get, so we're also going to throw on Riddle You this for 50% extra gun damage. And then Bullet Train, while we're hip firing, sprinting, gun damage will give us 50% extra damage, so move around. You can also, I guess, throw on the Mantra and use Bare Arms, but it doesn't really fit this build that well. You can also use the Mantra with CQC to get an increased fire rate, so depending on the weapons you're using, just the Crow Source ends up being the best choice. I also like Contamination for stats effects, but it doesn't really apply to this build. I guess I'll show this off against a boss. It's a little bit easier to demonstrate the combat, because yeah, you can see there, you actually hit a normal boss really hard for damage. The Crow Source with the full charge is insane. Yeah, this against bosses that don't have insane scaling of health is really good. The flow to the fights, though, are typically, I put this in Ultimate Vault Hunter 7 True Mode. You want to keep shooting and try to pay attention to the ammo there. You will get some free shots too, which is really nice, so use those, and that'll actually let you regen your ammo. So you can get really lucky. This is actually kind of an RNG dependent build. It's not super consistent at Subjugator and Thole the Invincible. That's just due to Subjugator and Thole the Invincible being pretty insane. But you always want to be shooting this whenever it gets to the max charge so that you get the most damage out of it. Try to stay in overdrive at least like 3 times during the fight. Don't use your Bullet Buddy Deluxe unless you really need ammo. It's sometimes a lot better just to reload manually, and you'll be able to get that Ultimate Vault Hunter 7 Platinum time. Now, again, I'd recommend doing Ultimate Vault Hunter 6, but yeah, that's the peak of Rafa right now. It's kind of shitty. Hopefully he'll get some more buffs here soon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below. We'll catch you in the next one.